You won't believe it. There was an assassination attempt on Donald Trump at his rally. Therefore, he had to get rushed off the stage by Secret Service. This was caught on camera.
If we were doing the job, I wouldn't even be doing this. I'd be at some beautiful places, the gorgeous ocean, the Mediterranean.
Look, they're all pointing.
The Atlantic, maybe the Pacific.
Yeah, someone's on top of the roof. Look. There he is right there. Right there, see him? He's laying down. See him?
Yeah, he's laying down.
Instead, I'm here with you fighting like hell to get a Senate.
What's happening?
And to make sure we take back the White House, because if we do, we're going to make America better than ever before. We're going to make it.
Yeah, look. There he is.
Easy, because we have millions and millions of people in our country that shouldn't be here. Dangerous people. Criminals. We have criminals. We have drug dealers. We have people that should not be here.
On the roof.
It's much tougher than it happens.
You went flat on the roof again.
If you want to really see something that's said, take a look at what happened.
I know the kind of evil that we are fighting, and we're going to get to all parts of that. So let's first jump into everything we know about the shooter. The shooter has been identified, again, as an individual named Thomas Matthew Crooks. Last name, I guess, appropriate in this scenario. And, of course, the first thing that people are saying is that he looks like a soy boy. And you know what? I'm sort of recognizing this as a theme. Why do all of these shooters look alike? They have the same look in their eye. Do you know what I'm talking about? They all look like the would-be shooter in all of these situations. And I'm talking about in the past, school shooting situations. They all have a certain look. So can we throw up a photo of, here's Thomas Matthew Crooks. Okay, this looks like a school picture of some description. And I swear I've seen this person over and over again in other school shooting scenarios. I'm thinking mainly, by the way, of a Connecticut shooting situation, because that's where I'm from. And they just all have a similar look in their eyes, in my viewpoint. Now, guys, you're not going to believe this. Here's what they're trying to actually sell to us. This is really what they're going with, because, of course, they need to fashion this so it doesn't look like leftist violence. They're saying he was a registered Republican. Yeah, people are making jokes. A Republican tried to take down Donald Trump. Now, is that true? Is that true? Was he a registered Republican? Was this a person, a conservative? Well, I'll let you decide after I put together a picture for how he lived the last couple of years of his life. So to be clear, Thomas Matthew Crooks had never voted in a presidential election, had never voted ever in his life, because he only just turned 18 2 years ago. So what we do know about him is that just before he turned 18, and this is in 2021, when he was just 17 years old, he decided to, on Biden's inauguration day, to make a donation via Act Blue. You guys know that political action committee that raises money for left-leaning politicians. Yes, he decided to make a donation to Act Blue, just $15. That is a fact, by the way, that has been confirmed by the Federal Election Commission filing. So the donation was earmarked for the Progressive Turnout Project, which was a national group that rallies Democrats to vote, and they were obviously working on getting Joe Biden elected. Okay, so this person, factually speaking, in 2021 was a Biden supporter. Now, strangely, later that same year, he decided to register as a Republican upon turning 18. Those facts make sense to you? Do those facts align now that we know that he then decides to try to assassinate President Trump, that he was financially supporting Biden, he was putting together a plan to assassinate President Trump, and they are going to try to convince us that he was a Republican? Nope, that seems too perfect. Now, they have reached out to family members in the Crooks family. Thomas Crooks graduated in 2022 from Bethel Park High School. His uncle, Daily Mail was able to get in touch with him, his name is Mark Crooks, has said that he has not seen his nephew or his nephew's parents in years. He describes them as quote unquote, very private. I don't like that. I don't like that a family member, an uncle, would not be in touch with his own brother or his own sister. I'm assuming here, since he has the same last name, but it's his brother, in years. That instead of being in touch with him, he just knows that they're extremely private. Up to what? What is it about this family that we don't know? He said, quote, "I haven't seen that part of my family in years." Again, this is Mark Crooks, the uncle to the shooter, Thomas Matthew Crooks. He continued, "Honestly, it's been so long, I don't think much about them." Okay? He says, "It's a shame. The kid is like a stranger to me. They are private and they don't reach out to anybody anytime. I'm flagging that as immediately odd, extremely odd." Now, during the attack, despite the fact that we know that he not only supported Biden by making a donation of $15 via Act Blue, but also he supported him by trying to take out, via an assassination attempt, Donald J. Trump, it appeared that he was wearing merchandise during the assassination attempt, promoting YouTube's most popular channels that are devoted to firearms, a channel known as Demolition Ranch. That's what NBC News is reporting, that he decided to wear that day a Demolition Ranch, I don't know if it's a t-shirt, I don't know if he was wearing a sweatshirt, but it is one of the most popular channels devoted to firearms. That does not seem almost too perfect. Almost seems like he's just giving them a narrative there of like, oh, people that like firearms are bad and they're crazy and they're backwards. Now, his father, Matthew Crooks, 53 years old, has spoken to CNN, and he said that he was trying to figure out, quote, what the hell is going on? He was going to wait until, quote, I talked to law enforcement before speaking out publicly. Now, what that signals to me immediately is that this family is not Republican, because a Republican family would not answer or give a quotation to CNN. That is a fact. Trump supporters would not, under any search situation, would they accept a phone call from CNN and offer them a quote, least of all saying that I'm going to wait until I talk to law enforcement before speaking, primarily because we have lost a lot of faith in law enforcement. We don't trust the FBI. We don't trust the FBI to tell the truth. So again, I am flagging the family as immediately suspicious. Everything going on here is immediately suspicious. What have we learned since?
After the incident, artists such as 50 Cent started showing their support towards the former president. And of course, there are those who wish the attack had succeeded.
Just found out about this shit. It just happened. I haven't even had a second to process. You're telling me somebody finally had the balls to bring a pew-pew, and he missed! We were a second away! We were a centimeter away from half of the problem being gone, and you missed! There was a white man attached to that trigger. I know it! We were a centimeter away! Oh! Happy birthday, Sheriff. Make a wish, Canada. Don't miss Trump next time.
This was the layout of the field where the rally took place. Even Joe Rogan found the whole situation suspicious.
Like, if he turns his head at the last second and the bullet grazes his ears, if he didn't, it hits the back of his head and he's dead. And then we fall into chaos and who knows what the fuck happens.
Big chaos.
And then people think that the Biden administration had Trump killed. And, and then there's these questions like, how the fuck does this 20-year-old kid climb on that roof 150 yards away and no one sees him?
Well, that one guy was pointing at him the whole time.
Yes.
He's like pointing to he's right there.
And they're yelling, he's got a gun. There's a guy in the prone position on a roof 150 yards away from the former president. The whole thing's nuts. The whole thing stinks of either incompetence or a design, or we're in the Matrix. This is a fucking fake movie. It seems like almost to watch this, the most bombastic and manly of presidents, you know, for a lack of a better term, to see him with these two female bumbling Secret Service agents, especially the one, to see that, to see everything happen the way it is, to see that they knew this guy was on the roof, to hear that guy had pointed his rifle before that at a cop. So the cop engaged him. He pointed the rifle and the cop ran away. The guy climbed the roof with a ladder. You can see the ladder. The whole thing is bananas.
Yeah,
he's 20 years old, and then you find out he was in a BlackRock commercial. You're like, is this the Black Mirror? Like, tell me what's going on. Is this real? Is this real? And then Trump goes golfing with a bandage on his ear the next day.
Yeah, and then the putt, when he made the putt.
Jesus
Did you hear his quote?
No.
He said, "That's the difference between me and the shooter. I don't miss."
Dan Bongino, an ex-Secret Service agent, had this to say.
So I was just showing Tucker some material from an unimpeachable source, let's just say, on the matter. That post, according to my source, that roof was supposed to be a police post. It was supposed to be someone there. They're now making up excuses, saying the pitch of the roof. My source says to me, no one knows why the post didn't show up. But so that's a nonsense story they're putting out in the media. And I was also told that the Secret Service director has been given instructions from the administration and the DHS secretary. If you want to keep your job, you'll keep your mouth shut about this. They're not putting that out there, but if you get those site post logs and those police instructions and there was a post on there and they didn't show up and no one checked, someone could have got your dad killed within millimeters.
Aaron, there's been some developments as the investigation has progressed. You know, what the investigators are telling us is, as far as a motive, a manifesto, the reasoning behind this, the suspect is still a blank slate. But what they have developed is a lot of the background about what happened that day. They know that he went to his employer at the nursing home where he works as a dietary specialist before this and said, "I need Saturday off. I have something important to do." But he told his coworkers, "I'll see you on Sunday." So he changed his days off, presumably for this. We also understand that when he got to the fairgrounds where this rally was being held for Donald Trump, the first thing that puts him on the radar of security people is near the magnetometer area where they're screening people in. He's carrying in his hand a rangefinder. It's a device that looks like a small pair of binoculars, but it's used by shooters to measure the distance when they're setting up a long-distance shot. Because he didn't have a weapon, that would not have prevented him to go through security, but they did flag, what does he have this in his hand for? At that point, they told people, keep an eye on this guy, but then he leaves the secure area, the staging area, and he doesn't turn up again for some time until the crowd says there's a guy crawling up the roof and it appears he has a rifle. There is an eerie moment in here, Aaron, where he's taking the rangefinder and he's looking through it at the counter sniper positions. And one of the counter sniper positions is looking at him through the scope. At this point, there's not a gun in the picture, as I understand it, but they're saying he's looking at us, looking at him. Then when people alert the police and they try to come up the ladder to get him, and he confronts them with the AR-15 gun, they dive for cover. And then a moment later, he opens fire. But a lot of this sounds very spread out. The end of it happens very quickly. The last piece is the search of the car. As we reported last night, 2 remote-controlled IEDs, remote-controlled bombs in the car. The remote control for those devices found on his person on the roof. according to sources. 3 fully loaded magazines with nearly 100 rounds, a bulletproof vest. So it raises the question, did he expect to escape from this? And if so, what was all that intended for? What was to happen next?
This is what the director of the U.S. Secret Service had to say about the shooting.
Should that roof have been secure, period?
That building in particular has a sloped roof at its highest point. And so, you know, there's a safety factor that would be considered there, that we wouldn't want to put somebody up on a sloped roof. And so, you know, the decision was made to secure the building from inside.
Democrats were on panic mode live on CNN.
Terrible day. If you pull back and look at this thing, strength versus weakness, a bullet couldn't stop Trump. A virus just stopped Biden. You've got the nominees of this party getting their butts kissed. Biden's getting his butt kicked by his own party.
This is perhaps the closest America has came to being plunged into a civil war in modern time. The inadvertent consequence of the shooting is that polls are predicting a Trump victory by a margin.
Look at the map right now. That gets Donald Trump to 303. And there's new polling today that shows the president's approval rating in these battleground states is below 40. The president's ballot number right now is below 40 in most of those states, and it's at 42 in Nevada. It's very hard in 16 weeks. We count the votes 16 weeks from tonight to turn that around. Plus, Democrats are now worried. They think, I'm not saying this is going to happen, but what they're saying is the president's going to have to spend more time and more resources on places like Virginia because it's competitive, on places like New Hampshire because it's competitive. You look at this map as it plays out, and there are Democrats making the case, and we have Wisconsin blue here. Let's move Wisconsin over here. There are Democrats making the case that Donald Trump is on a viable path as of today to get to 330 electoral votes, Wolf, or even higher, because they see other states in here. The Trump campaign says Minnesota. The Trump campaign says maybe New Mexico. Let's be cautious. Those are blue states traditionally, but the president's standing, his approval rating, his ballot number, people's views about how old he is, and people who view the state of the economy are very bad for the president right now. And so even if you just go back to where we start, Donald Trump is in command.
Even more eyewitness testimony. Let me know in the comments section if you think this was an inside job.
Someone who was here, you weren't inside the event,
nope,
but you were just outside. Tell us what you saw.
So we had a party here all day. You can see behind us at the Brinkles Farming Greenhouse here. We had a party, and we all decided, hey, you know, when we hear Trump up there, we're going to walk up through the field, stand by the trees up there under the shade, and watch and listen to the rally. Right? We couldn't see him, but we could hear him. So we walked up, and probably 5 to 7 minutes of Trump speaking. I'm estimating here, I have no idea, you know. But we noticed a guy crawling, bear crawling up the roof of the building beside us, 50 feet away from us. So we're standing there, and, you know, we're pointing at the guy crawling up the roof.
And he had a gun, right?
He had a rifle. We could clearly see him with a rifle, absolutely. We're pointing at him. The police are down there running around on the ground. We're like, hey, man, there's a guy on the roof with a rifle. And the police were like, huh, what? You know, like they didn't know what was going on. You know, we're like, hey, right here on the roof. We can see him from right here. We see him. You know, he's crawling. And next thing you know, I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, why is Trump still speaking? Why have they not pulled him off the stage? I'm standing there pointing at him for, 2 or 3 minutes. Secret Service is looking at us from the top of the barn. I'm pointing at that roof, just standing there like this. And next thing you know, 5 shots rang out.
So you're certain that the shots came from that guy on the roof?
100%. 100%.
And he was up there for a couple of minutes.
He was up there.
You saw him up there for a couple of minutes.
Absolutely. At least 3 to 4 minutes.
And you were telling the police and the Secret Service?
We were telling the police. We were pointing at them for the Secret Service, who were looking at us from the top of the barn. They were looking at us the whole time when we were standing by that tree.
Could they see
binoculars?
Could they see him?
Probably not, because the roof, the way the slope went, he was behind where they could see. But why is there not Secret Service on all of these roofs here? I mean, this is not a big place.
Did you see, I mean, obviously everyone, when the shooting started, everyone was very panicked. Did you see what happened to him at all?
Oh yeah, they blew his head off.
Okay, sorry.
Secret Service blew his head off.
Okay, just be careful because we don't quite know who's watching, but you're pretty sure they shot the guy?
Absolutely, 100%.
Okay.
Yep.
You saw that happen?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And did you see them go up to him afterwards, or?
They crawled up on the roof. They had their guns pointed at him, make sure he was dead. He was dead, and that was it. It was over.
It's incredibly shocking.
The guy was on the roof right there. You can see the white roof right there.
Did you get a look at him? Could you?
No, other than he was in muted colors, tan type clothing. We saw the rifle flinging around as he was trying to crawl. I mean, we saw the rifle, 100%.
Do you know about guns? Do you know what kind of weapon it was?
Oh, I absolutely know about guns, for sure. No, I mean, it was a rifle of some sort. I wouldn't know, I wasn't close enough to read the label on it, but
sure. But
it was a rifle of some sort. Yeah, absolutely.
So how do you process what you've just seen?
I don't know what to say, man. All I'll tell you is, if I walked up close to there with anything that Secret Service considered a problem, I wouldn't be standing here talking to you right now. But I don't know why a guy who we're standing there pointing out to police and Secret Service is crawling up the roof. Yes, right there by that tree. We were outside the security perimeter. But my question is, there's only a few buildings around here. Why is Secret Service not at every building here?
Well, there's a whole bunch of questions, I think, that are going to come.
There's a whole bunch of questions.
Yeah.
Yes, she was right in front of me. She kept going back and forth right in front of me. Yes.
Tell us about her.
I mean, nice horse, nice lady running with a flag. Seemed very, patriotic.
But what's the significance of her?
No, he asked me if I saw a horse.
Okay. All right, well, listen, I'm sorry you had to witness that. That was a terrible thing. And you should stay safe with your family and...
Gotcha.